Sacred Garden Culture Network with High Priest Kwatamani, sacred ancestral soothsayer, soul seer, spiritual healer and revealer, founding father and spiritual chief elder of the Kwatamani First Genesis tribe, the oldest, longest sustained, 100% raw and living, plant-consuming family community order known. Over half a century and still going strong. This is Nitty Gritty 7.
Greetings to the sacred, ancestral, soulful essence of who you be as a holistic living expression of feminine energy. She who must affectionately nurture our embodying incarnation if divine social economic family community order is to have any resurrecting salvation. Greetings to the sacred ancestral soulful essence of who you be, sacred son of the sun, upholding and maintaining your unified bond to divine social economic family community order, safeguarding every son and daughter. As your seen and unseen ancestral elder, it is to you that I offer this appeal. Please safeguard your whole life survival skill. You see, this spiritual war to separate, divide, and conquer is real. Watch what you do. Watch what you say. Indulging in self-deified individualism is no child's play. You see, she is communal naturally. Here's what the I and I say. She is the birthplace of he and she. To destabilize feminine energy calls for many dues to pay. As the I and I put the tools of this particular presentation together within the consciousness of who I be as a masculine presence, let me take a little time and say this. The key to our holistic living resurrection is to reorient the feminine mother spirit into who she be. And that's a very difficult challenge. The challenge is difficult because there has been so much time spent ripping and stripping and tearing her apart and away from the soul of the I and I as the masculine presence. The green earth solar conscious masculine presence is who we're speaking about. And to put this tool back together is indeed designed to be a most humongous task, nearly impossible. I only say nearly because I'm sitting at this mic and I'm going to do everything that I can to make it possible. The first thing that the I and I need to say is that we, masculine and feminine energy, essence formulated in body of flesh as he and she, have forgotten upon the scene who we be. We have forgotten that our divine, natural, innate duty, obligation, and responsibility is to resurrect the generation next, to forward a higher peace conscious nature into those offspring and vibrations. Yet so many do not even desire to go through the process of whole life forwarding. Instead, one would rather play sex games, promiscuity, seeking pleasure that can never ever be. So many do not even comprehend the expression of pleasure, only the momentary enthusiasm. You see, man, he and she had been groomed and conditioned to live for the moment. And in that moment, after that, nothing else matters except to seek and find another moment. It's like a high. It's like a drug-addicted high. And on that drug-addicted high, you can never match the last moment. The holistic living reality is that we can match every single moment of our holistic living existence. We can have the ability to indulge in a kind and type of pleasure that will excite the membrane of our soul. Because we are indeed soul-to-soul beings. And once we can comprehend who we be as soul-to-soul beings, I'm going to tell you something. This whole thing is all over because ain't nothing able to stop the holistic living resurrection of a soul-to-soul encounter. We call it soul-to-soul divine intercourse with life. I'm going to take a little time and express some verse. I want you to listen carefully at the rhythm and the rhyme. That's going to be a little different in synchronized time, but the message will synchronize with you if you listen holistically and true. Listen. Something missing. Been reminiscing so long can't see something's wrong. Yeah, Green Earth Solar Can been rapping this rap since who knows when. Ain't trying to offend those self-deifying kin who's telling us that supremacy is based on the color of one's skin, regardless of the lower and lesser state of consciousness that one lives within. What a fallacy. But then those of a lower and lesser state of consciousness would produce such an analogy, which one would be prepared to defend to the bitter end. But then, we're talking two different natures of energy, divine order or toxic reality, supreme truth or self-deifying fallacy. One encoded to empower the soul, the other hell-bent on mind control. Let truth be told. Thus, those who rose from the blood-spilling codes of buying, selling, and stealing souls knows full well the historical bloodstained trails and the master programs of deceptions they tell. So the question I ask to the new breed stock, whose ancestors were bought and sold on the auction block, then freed into a wage and debt time clock, the mental lock that you assimilate, integrate, and adopt. Yet, this master program must be stopped. And for those whose parents were used to fulfill the ways and means of indentured servitude, time to address that soul-depleting mess, psychologically designed to make you feel lower and less. And for anyone who's among what is left of the rest, after all that has been said is done, it is either divine order, Genesis 1, where the holistic living essence of man, he and she first begun. Supremacy, masculine and feminine energy, the unified bond, tree of life culture, divine children, earth, wind, rain, and sun. Or one would do like the Sephites did do, shake-shift into a monotheistic nature that is now called Genesis 2. Yes, the Sephites have a quest to lead the children of the sun out of the sacred garden culture into the cold, blighted wilderness, lost and astray in the mind, afflicted and addicted to sexual violation, violence, war, and crime. And in that lower and lesser wilderness beginning was the beginning of its own ending. Armageddon is what the lost and astray would be defending. And the word was to consume of the blood and flesh and bones and skin of the hunt and the herd. Vampire capitalists who would identify as a nerd. And the ancestors would not be pleased as these lost and astray children spread sickness, affliction, and disease, leaving behind desertification through the acts and behaviors of deforestation. Bottom line, time after time, chiming in on the ways and means of sexual violation, violence, war, and crime. So my question to each and every one of you who are tired of the harm and hurt, are you truly ready, willing, and able to do the holistic living work? If you can feel the soulful essence of what this family community ought to feel, then it is time for you to begin to detox, purge, and heal. For real, remember, the cream of the crop must rise to the top in order to accelerate the resurrection of this sacred garden cultural communal time clock. Those who are devoted to the holistic living presence of Green Earth Solar Conscious Resurrection, those who wholeheartedly and sincerely wish to emerge into divine social, economic, family, community order, those are the few of the few that we're now talking to. And as we said, so many do not have any idea as to why we, as incarnated beings, have come upon this earth. So many think that we come to satisfy our personal whims, wants, and desires, having no true idea that we are connected beings, that yes, we are indeed divine, social, economic, family, communal beings, spiritually connected in a soul-to-soul relationship with the essence of earth, wind, rain, and sun, a part of a collective mass of supreme circle of life manifestation. And therefore, we owe our allegiance to the forward multiplication of divine order into every offspring and vibration of the generation next that we encounter. Those who we are able to touch, we must come to recognize that it is not each and every being that we will be able to infuse a consciousness of a love supreme. Our natural and innate responsibility is to put every energy into any opening in divine order, not to use any element of force or coercion. If it don't fit, don't force it. If it fits, goodness, let's be with it. And what we need to do now is to learn how to be with holistic, living, resurrecting relationships. We must be able to bond as man, he and she. We cannot produce offsprings and leave those offsprings hanging high and dry while we prepare them in ways and means like homeschooling, home birth, natural childbirth, we should say, and teaching them the modalities of dealing with the healing energies of the herbs and the fruits and the vegetables and the seeds and the nuts. Imagine an offspring, after having this way of life, from birth up until the time of maturity, come into a situation where those whom they encounter have no respect for Mother Nature, no respect for divine social, economic, family, community order, and in fact look at her or him as a prey or as someone to use to satisfy one's primary goal and objective, money, 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 things and stuff and things, or as a showpiece to let one's peers know that one has been able to conquer another innocent prey. We have to begin to realize that the offsprings of divine social, economic, family, community order must not be left to do this thing alone after being homegrown. No, neither he nor she must be left in a situation where they are forced and conditioned to retreat on their attitudes, values, behaviors, and life-affirming circumstances for absolutely no reason. It's taken an awful lot to get a sacred few of the few among the children of the sun to the stage that we are now, where they can reason beyond the moment. And therefore, a greater sense of responsibility is placed upon we, the parents, to make sure that we provide an avenue of connecting with those of his and her own kind. We must make sure that a strong elder presence is in place to assist in the selection process, in the mating process, in the process of developing those offsprings from the external vibration, as well as developing the offsprings born, bred, and fed within a divine social, economic, family, community order, so that he and she will have the ability to be successful as a branch of communal family order. The sacred few of the few must comprehend that we are in a desperate need for divine social, economic, family, community order. We must also be clear on the fact that Mother Earth is shifting and changing to make corrections in the many errors that has been brought about by those who have become disconnected from her holistic living presence, disconnected from the divine union of masculine and feminine energy, disconnected from the essence of life. Therefore, it becomes important for each and every offspring to comprehend, if one decides to use one's self-asserting senses individualistically, one is deciding that one really do not care about anything except pleasure for the moment, if one can even find that as a reality. For an individual to wander into the wilderness in search of a mate relationship during these critical and crucial times of conflict, confusion, and chaos would indeed be tantamount to self-destruction. What that I mean by that is, if a being follows a pattern that has shown historically to produce failure time and time again, especially during these times of critical mental imbalance, one would be actually practicing insanity, or one would be making a declaration that one do not care what the results will be. The only thing that one cares for is what he or she wants at that moment and at that time, regardless of the hurt and the harm and the conflict that may come of that situation. Yes, we're talking about serious matters of fact. Is it then not insanity to put a new generation, a next generation, into the same process, go through the same attitudes, values, and behaviors, producing the same toxic results? Is that not practicing insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, somehow expecting because it's you, it's going to be a different set of consequences? Not even realizing that who in the world do you think you are beyond the moment? Basic fact, there are so many cases of domestic violence, so many cases of envy and jealousy, so many cases of individuals inflicting hurt and harm, not only upon each other, but upon anyone near and dear to the situation. We have to make a change, and it will require community. We must remember, it takes a village to raise a child into a humble and respectful, loyal being. And it takes a divine social, economic, family, community order to raise a parent into a humble and respectful, loyal being. Therefore, if we expect different results, we have to apply a different set of circumstances to address the problems of those situations. We must remember, when the goings get tough, the tough gets going. Yet, at every moment of time, through difficult situations, we all need somebody to lean on. And this is where those blessed relationships of brotherhood, those sacred relationships of sisterhood, within a divine social, economic, family, community order become of the utmost importance, be it she or be it he, or be it those offsprings. There is an ancestral code of security built into divine social, economic, family, community order that addresses each and every being in a way to secure and safeguard their life, their wholesome health and well-being within a collective movement of oneness. Just a little note for thought and reasoning. There's an old saying, my way or the highway. It also translates my way or no way. What that means is, unless the individualistic self have its own asserted will in the way that he or she want that to be, unless one is able to dictate the outcome, an outcome that satisfies one's own momentary whims, wants, and desire, the individual is saying there will be no way he or she will have the humility to listen to any other kind of way, be it wholesome corrective movement or not, because the individual has become stuck and stagnant in the old self-centered vibration of my way or no way, using words and comments and etc. that he or she have already arrived. And that's the most dangerous thing, because once one leaves the superficial and surface element of those relationships that manifest within a toxic parallel, there ain't nothing left. Nothing from nothing leaves nothingness. So you've automatically perpetuated a relationship of nothingness. And there are very few times that those kinds and types of nothingness relationships can even last long enough for a child to begin to stand up on his or her feet, strong enough to continue a personal sojourn. We have to be able to take this thing very serious. We need to look at all the details of our relationship with Mother Earth, wind, rain, and sun. We must begin to look at the details of those who have had experiences within environments entirely different than those of us as I speak. We must realize that Mother Earth is now within a massive shift and change. Her primary goal and objective is to bring us back together again within a divine union of one green earth solar conscious beings, focused on the resurrection of those blessings that we have received through that greenness of that garden culture presence and that beautiful melanin encoded energy that protects us from the heavy overdose of sun rays. We must begin to realize that this is not in any way about skin color and tone and etc. at this phase of our existence. At this phase, we must comprehend that this earth shift and change is already going on. And in order to perpetuate the survival of a new breed of consciousness, we had better get on our JOB and get out of all these twisted, oblivious kinds of thinking and reasoning, the hater vibrations. Now we know that there are so many of those who are not going to move off of that hater syndrome because they feel so mighty in dollar and cent value, so self-righteous, so uppity, so insecure that they have to use somebody else to make their own self feel better. That's right. These are the kind of self-asserting individuals that have to point the finger of blame and shame, have to find someone to belittle, to lower, to make feel less than, in order to make their own ego-driven self feel above and beyond those whom they snub their nose at, those whom they feel to be of inferior characteristics and traits. You see, when we indulge in self-deified individualism, those are the factors, those are the truths and the consequence of that kind and type of indulgence. This is why, as the divine children of the sun, emerging out of the sacred garden culture from which we come, we must maintain whole soul-to-soul relationships with each other. We must start from deep within in our relationship with each other. We must give honor, praise, thanks, and appreciation to incarnation, reincarnation, and we must begin to learn the patterns so we can communicate with more of a wholesome and healthy, growing kind of relationship with each other. These things are so serious. They're so very real. And it is up to we, the sacred few of the few of the few, who choose to live holistically in tune with Mother Earth, wind, rain, and sun, to take care of business. If you're ready, come and go with the divine order, divine social, economic, family, community order. And let's see what manifests. Because it's time for us to begin to fall deeply in love with each other again and again and again as masculine and feminine energy, he and she, the divine order, forwarding the supreme love vibration into every offspring and vibration of the generation next. Yeah, it's time to fall in love. Are you ready? As Mother Earth make room to blossom and bloom, to seed and feed a green earth solar conscious breed. I said, listen here, this soul seer's message spoken loud and clear, soul to soul and codes for those sincere. Prophecy, Maat decree, karma not conspiracy, two entirely different natures of energy. One hell bent on mind control, the other encoded to empower the soul. Let truth be told, a sacred few must yield to divine will. In tune as Mother Earth make room to blossom and bloom, to seed and feed a green earth solar conscious breed. Yeah.